Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Coding with T. In today's tutorial, we are going to design the dashboard in Flutter. So today's tutorial is going to be very informative and very useful for those who are new and also for those who are expert and want to create some complex designs because we are going to cover multiple limitations in the design. So first quickly have a look what we are going to create. So this is our splash screen. We are creating the login Flutter application, and after the splash screen, this is the welcome screen. We have already created all the videos related to or all the designs related to authentication, which contains login, sign up. You can see this is the sign up that we created. Then we have a login with the transition effect, forget password, email, and also OTP screen. And then inside the login, we are assuming that let's say user provide us the credentials and credentials are true. When user click on this login, he or she will be redirected towards this screen, which is the dashboard, and this is actually the today's tutorial that we are going to learn. Okay, now let's try to divide the layout structure. At the top, first we will create the app bar with the background and an icon, and then we have two text, and after that we will try to learn how to create this type of search box which has a container with the left border, search button, and then we have an icon. And then we are going to first learn how to create this type of design, and after that we are going to make it using list view scrollable. Then we will create banner with a button view all with the top courses. You can see again we are going to create this type of cards which are scrollable using the list view. So this is what we are going to learn today. We are going to learn multiple concepts inside it. So let's get started. As you can see, we are creating the login playlist, and we have created all the design features on the left side. And then I decided to also create this dashboard design because it will be much more logical to design this with a design section. So after this, we are going to jump towards our backend, which is the Flutter backend, and we are going to implement all the features you can see inside the backend portion. So this is what we are going to create. And above all, the key feature is that at the end, whatever we create in dashboard, we will make sure that it is a clean code. Then we will create our custom widgets. Then we will also use light and dark theme or convert our design towards the dark theme. So this is for the playlist. Make sure to watch the video till end. Without wasting time, let's get started. Okay, so we are inside the project we created for our Flutter login application. And if you are following the series, you know the drill. We first have to add all the constants and all the assets. First go to assets folder, and inside the images, as we add all the previous images, I have created dashboard, and inside I have added all the required images. You can get all these images from codingwitht.com. So after adding the assets, go to pubspec.yaml file. If we add a new folder, as we added a dashboard, so we have to define inside Flutter assets and path to our folder. After this, we will jump towards the lib folder, which is the main folder, and inside our source folder structure. If you're following this folder structure, then this portion is for you. And if you're not following the folder structure, you can paste your code wherever you want to paste it. But for the constants, we are going to use the card background color, which we have already added. Then in the image strings, all the images have been added over here, and same in the sizes. I have created two dashboard sizes, dashboard padding and dashboard card padding. And then in the text strings, all the text is over here, right? We just have to use these variables. So let's close it, close the constants, go to features. And previously we were creating authentication features, and inside the screen you can see we created login, sign up, welcome, splash screen, onboarding, forget password with bunch of other fields. So this design has already been completed. But whereas the dashboard is concerned, dashboard is not related to the authentication, right? Controllers, all the logic will be inside this controllers. Model is just for the mapping, and then in the screens, I have created this dashboard folder, and then we have a empty dashboard.dart file. So let's start with a dashboard.dart. It is a simple stateless widget, and inside the scaffold, you can see we have a container. The first thing is we want to wrap this container with a widget which is a single child scroll view, because our design is going to be scrollable, because we want to add a padding, and as a padding we are going to use the variable which is t dashboard padding. Its size is 20.0. But before start coding with our main layout, we first have to create an app bar. Inside the app bar, the first thing is we want to add a leading property, leading icon. So this is a simple icon which is icons.menu, and its color is black. After this leading icon, let's add a title. As a title, I have used a text which is a T app name, and then the style is headline 4, which is theme dot of context, because we already created a theme. So I will use headline 4. Now to place this title in the center, we have a center title property, make it true. So let's run the application. As you can see, this is the splash screen. And after the splash screen, we are inside the welcome. Click on login. And when you're going to click on this login, you can see this is the app bar that we are creating. Next, we want to remove the elevation to 0 and also want to remove the background color, color.transparent. Let's save it. And you can see background is gone and also the elevation is gone. Okay, now inside the action, we are going to create elements towards the right side of the app bar. So to create the element or to create a button on the right side, you can see basically we have a background color and then we have an icon on it, right? So for the background, we are going to use a container to add a border radius and also a background color. We will use its decoration property, use box decoration. Border radius will be border radius dot circular and it will be radius as 10. Then use a color. Color will be the card background color. Control Alt L to align the code. After the declaration, let's add a child. As a child, I am going to use icon button. Its on pressed will be null. And as icon is a widget, so I am going to add image. Okay, as an image, we have used asset image, and in the asset image, the variable we have created inside our constants, image strings. So now let's save the code. You can see image has been added with the background color, but it is currently aligned towards the top and also towards the right side. So inside the container, we have a property called margin. So we'll use the margin same as a padding edge in sex dot symmetric. Horizontal will be 20 and vertical is 7. Let's save it. And you can see it has been shifted towards the left side. You can change this symmetric to only, and inside this horizontal you can say from the right 20 and from the top it's 7, so it will be much better. So app bar is ready. Now we can close this app bar and start coding towards our the main body of the dashboard. So the first thing is that we have to make sure that all the elements go vertically. So as a child, we are going to use column property. Column align all the elements in a vertical direction. So first one, as a children of the column, let's add text, T dashboard title, Control D to duplicate, change second one to T dashboard heading. Let's save it. And you can see we have both elements, but they are not currently in the left side. So to make it in the left side as a column direction, we will use cross axis alignment dot at the start, save the code, and it is shifted towards the left side. Now let's add the theme as a style. We'll use theme dot of context dot text theme. So in the whole application, we will keep repeating this line text theme, and then we are going to use text theme dot whatever we want to use, headline, body text, or whatever we want to use. So instead of repeating this again and again, let's cut it from here. Inside this build method, create variable final text theme, and that's it. Now we have the text theme over here. We don't have to repeat it again and again. So we can simply call text theme dot body text 2, and same for the second one. Instead of body text 2, we are going to use headline 2. Let's save the code, and you can see our theme has been applied. After this, we need to add some space using a size box. We will use height property, and I'm going to use dashboard padding because it is 20. Add a constant. Now, the next thing we want to create is a search box. So for the search box, you can see the design is in a horizontal direction. So we have first icon. So we have a one border, then we have a text, and then we have a icon, right? Okay, so first thing for the search box, we have to create the border line. So we will use container for that. Inside the container, we have a decoration property. Use a box decoration. Inside this box decoration, I have added a border. So border will be only, I have added a left side, and as a border side width is 4. Let's save it. It's currently not visible because container does not contain any child widget. After this decoration, let's add a child, and we have two properties. One is text and the second one is an icon. So we will use row as a children of the row. Let's add a text, the dashboard search as a text, and then as a style we are going to use text theme again dot headline 2. Let's save it, and you can see we have a text and we also have a left side border. Now in here you can see we are using the headline 2 as a text theme, which is the main theme, but we want to change its color. So what we can do is, it is a nullable, so add a question mark dot, we have apply property, so we can apply whatever we want to change. We want to change its color, so as a color we will use colors dot gray with opacity 0.5. Let's save it, and you can see color has been changed. Now we can also add a padding next to this decoration inside the container, let's add a padding first. Agent search dot symmetric, horizontal is 10 and vertical is 5. Let's save it. And you can see we have padding inside our container. So search have some space from the left side. So as a row, we have a first element, which is the text. Now as a second element, we have an icon. Icons.mic and size is 25. Let's save the code and you can see the mic has been created, but to push it towards the right side, we'll use its main axis alignment dot space between. Save the code and you can see mic is towards the right side. So, okay, so our search button or the search bar has been created. Let's add a comment. Okay, after the search box, we are going to create the categories. So for the categories, because we have a small button, you can say a chip, but it is a custom chip. So I am going to use a size box with a specific height and width. And inside the size box, we have two properties. The one is the box, which contains a simple text. And then we have on the right side two properties. So we will use as a child of this, we are going to use row place elements in a horizontal direction. So as a children, the first thing we need to create a container. So this container with a width and height, but you can see the width and height is not exceeding this width and height. Now to turn it radius and add a background color, you can see we have already created inside our app bar. So we will use same decoration with a box decoration property and we will add a border radius dot circular, and also we will add a background color as color property t dark color. Now let's save the code and you can see our box is created with a border radius and a background color. Press Ctrl Alt L. Now inside this container, as a child, we are going to use center property to make our text in the center. So as a center, we will use a center text. Let's say first one is JavaScript. Let's save it. Currently not visible because it is already in the black color. So let's turn it with a style property. Text theme dot headline 6. Again, we're going to change its style with the apply property and we'll turn the color as white. Let's save it. And you can see we have JS written in the center. Okay, now as a row, you can see our first element is created as a container, but as a second element, we have two text, so we will use column to create two text in a vertical direction. First thing is cross axis alignment to align them on the left side dot start, and then in the main axis alignment, push it in the center. Main axis alignment dot center. Let's save it. It is in the center, but we want to add some space. Use a size box. This time we're going to add a width as 5. Let's save it and you can see it's pushed toward the left side. Now the last thing is we want to style this text. As a style we will use text theme dot headline 6, and also for the second one we will use body text 2. Let's save it and you can see our design has been applied. Again here you can see we write JavaScript which is hard coded. Let's say the length is going to exceed this 170. What we are going to do? So for that we have property called overflow and we use overflow dot ellipsis, and with the overflow we use text overflow dot ellipsis. So whenever this text is going to exceed this size, instead of crashing the application or instead of showing that this many pixels has been overridden, it will add dots next to the text. So we will use this same for the second one. Let's save it and just for the example let's add something extra. Let's save it. So this is the error. You can see it has been overflowed by 34 pixels towards the right. So this ellipsis is not working because we have to wrap our column with a widget called flexible. So now our column is flexible. Let's save it and you can see dots has been added. Change back the text. So we'll wrap it in the widget. So to wrap anything in another widget, Alt Enter, wrap it with the column because it has a children attribute and also list view has a children property. So once read, when we are going to save, you can see it's gone because we have an error inside the run method. You can see render box was laid out, but it has gone offside because the vertical viewport was given unbounded height. So what does this mean is that we are going to use elements in the vertical direction, which is a single child scroll view at the top, and also this list view is going to take the maximum space available towards the vertical. So it is now unbounded means that list view is try to capture whatever the possible size towards the vertical. So that's why it's giving an error. So first thing is we want to change its scroll direction on axis dot horizontal because we want to shift it towards the horizontal side. Also we are going to use the shrink wrap as true So what this shrink wrap is going to do, it is going to load only the elements currently visible on the screen to increase the speed. Now let's save it. And this time you can see constraints dot bounded height is not true. So this means that still it is going towards the vertical size. Its height is not fixed. So what we're going to do is we will wrap this list view again with a sized box, and this time we are only going to provide its height and the maximum height, which is 45. Let's keep the 45 on all the places. Now let's save it, and you can see it's visible again, and our list view is ready. So this is the children of the list view. So after completing the design, we will convert this list view to ListView.builder, but for now let's paste it to 2 times or maybe 3 times. Let's save it, and you can see our list view is working very fine. Now let's minimize it. Also minimize this search box, add some space at the bottom. Okay, after this we are going to create a banner. So for the banner we have divided, so we have two banners. One is on the left side and one is on the right side. So this means we are going to use row to divide them in horizontal direction. Now inside the row we have children's. We are going to create two children's. This means that two cards. The first one is the main card, and then we have a column which will contain one card and one button. So let's create the first container, and this container is also going to have a border radius and a background color. So the decoration have a border radius, which is circular 10, and then color as a card background color. We're going to save it, but it's not going to be visible because nothing is added inside it. Next, we have to add a padding. Padding will be again symmetric horizontal as 10. Now we're going to save it, but currently you can see we have only small color visible. As a child of this container, we are going to add a column because we have to align elements towards the vertical direction. So for the first one, we have a row which will contain icon on the left side and image on the right side. So first child is a row. Okay, the first image is created with a bookmark icon, Control D to duplicate and change it to T banner image 1. Now let's save the code. And you can see the error which is overflowed by 276 pixels because they are not flexible. The image sizes are big and they are not currently containing inside this container. So the first thing is we want to make this container, wrap this container with the expanded widget. So it should not again going to unbound the width property because we are using two rows. So we will wrap this container in an expanded. Let's save it. Nothing changed. Now we can easily wrap the image with a property flexible. So it should only contain the space available. And also for the second one, wrap it with a flexible. Let's save the code. And you can see we have two images. The first one is unable to load. Okay, I just hot restart and icon has been displayed. So we have two icons or two images being displayed, but they are not currently aligned as we want. So inside this row, we can add space between. So we have main axis as main axis alignment dot space between. So you can see we have a space, but also want to make sure that these elements are on the top. So this bookmark sign on the top left corner. So for that, we will use cross axis because row is inside the horizontal direction and cross axis will be vertical. So when vertical is at the start, this means at the top, and you can see it is at the top. First row is created. Now it's time for the second one. Add some space. Then we will add a text. Control D to duplicate, and it will be banner subtitle. Save it, and you can see we have two elements. But we want to, because it is inside this column, so column cross axis alignment, which will be horizontal, should be at the start. So all elements should start from the left side. As you can see, now let's style the text. Text theme dot headline 4 will be used, and body text 2 for the subtitle. After this, we want to make sure that this max lines should be 2. It should not exceed the max lines, which is 2. And also we will use the overflow, text overflow dot ellipsis. Now this overflow will start working when the two lines has been exceed, and this is going to work right after the one line. So we can also mention over here, which is a good practice, which is max lines as 1. Save the code. So first box has been created. Okay, so this is the expanded, which is the first children which has been created. Now we are going to use another one which should also be in the expanded to cover the equal space. Now for the second banner, we have one container which is a card and second button. So we will use column, and inside its children, we are going to use the first one will be container, and this container is the same as at the top with a decoration and a padding. And when we are going to save, you can see this is the text color, and this is the banner that we have created, shifted towards the left side. The text has been broken to two lines, and it's not in the ellipsis, and this is in the first line, right? Now we are going to design this one, and also this should start from the right top corner. So inside this row, we will use the cross-axis alignment dot start, save the code, and you can see this color has been jumped towards at the top. And also between these two expanded, we want to use size property or to add some space using a size box with dashboard card padding. Let's save it, and you can see the little space has been added. So these are flexible because of the expanded widgets. We have wrapped them in the expanded. Okay, next, same like this one, we have inside this container, we have a row which is going to contain all the elements. So I am just going to copy it from there. As a child of this container, I am going to paste it. Bookmark will be same, banner will be same. There will be no spacing between. Image will be changed. Control Alt L to align the code, and let's save the code. And you can see our second banner has been created. But this time you can see we have max lines as 2, but we'll convert it to 1. So 1 is by default. We can easily remove them. Control Alt L to align. So we have these two texts. Change the text title to 2. Let's save the code. And you can see we have one banner and two banner. Now this banner will have a button at the bottom. After this container, we are going to add outline button. Home press will be nothing. And as a child, let's add a text ht dashboard button. Let's save the code, and you can see button has been created, which is the view all. Now to make this button full width, we will wrap this button with a size box, and width of the size box will be double dot infinity. Let's save it, and you can see button has been expanded. Now after the banners, same, we are going to add some space first. The next one is the top courses. First will go the heading, simple text. So as a text, we are going to use headline 4. You can see the text, but to increase its size, we are again going to use dot style dot apply. And as a font size factor, so this factor is going to multiply whatever the size of the font is. So 1 means that it is not going to change its size. So 1.2 means size will be multiplied with the 1.2 and increase little bit. So this is the heading size that we are going to use. Okay, now as we have a scrollable effect, you can see over here that we created scrollable list already. So we will again use list view for that. But first, let's design the card. As a design, we are going to use a size box with some width and height. Okay, then as a child of the size box, we are going to use a container. Again, this container will have some radius and also will have some background color using a box decoration. So this container is going to have a circular border again with the 10 radius, and padding will be 10 from all the sides. Now let's save it, and you can see over here that it has been expanded because we have a width as 320 and height as 200. As a child, again we are going to use column because our elements in the vertical direction. As a children of the elements, all the elements should start from the left side. So we will use cross-axis alignment dot start. As the children of the column, the first one is row because, or in the banner card, we designed two images. The first one is the label image, and second one is again an image. But this time in the row, it's not two images, it's one text and second image, right? So as a children of the row, first one is a text. As a style, we will use headline 4. So we'll use text theme dot headline 4. Max lines will be 2 and overflow will be ellipsis. Control Alt L to align. After this text, okay, as an image, we have used asset image, and it has a T course image we have already added, and height will be 110. When we are going to save it, you can see we have one image and one text. Again, we are going to use as a cross-axis alignment to make sure that element should start from the right top corner. Cross-axis alignment dot start. You can see when I am going to change the size from 16 to 18. Now headline 4 contains 18 as a headline. So you can see it is now going to overflow by 16 pixels on the right. So we have to simply wrap our text with a widget called flexible, or you can use expanded. So flexible is recommended. It keeps the aspect ratio. Expanded is going to expand on all the available space. Same, we're going to wrap this image with the flexible. Let's save the code and you can see our image is now looking perfect. But in the row, we want to make them shift towards on the left and right side. So we'll use the space between as a main axis alignment in the row, space between. Let's save it and you can see image is shifted towards the right side and text is on the left side. Now the first row is created. Let's close it. Now let's create the second row. Now inside this row, we will use children as the first one will be elevated button. On pressed is nothing. As a text, we as a child we're not going to use text, but we will use icon. Icons dot a arrow. So elevated button will be on. So this is the icon that I'm going to use. Let's save it and you can see make it circular. Control Alt L first. Out in the side this elevated button. As a style, use elevated button dot style from and simply as a shape we are going to use circle border, right? Save it and you can see we have a button which is circular and which is an elevated button. After this button we have some space using a size box. Now after this we have two text, so we will use column to align them vertically. As a children of the column, first thing we want to make sure that it should start from the left side with the cross axis alignment at start. So the first one is child, the text. So the first one is three. So the first section is a headline 4 and second one is a body text 2. Again with the ellipses in both text. Let's save it and you can see it is looking perfect. The second card has also been created. Now let's close this card, which is a top course card. You can see the card has been created. Now again we want to make it or again we want to wrap it in the list view. So we will simply wrap this widget with a list view. So again to wrap it with a list view, Alt Enter, wrap it with the column and change this column to list view. Let's save it and you can see again it is going to be crashed because when we're going to see the error inside the run at the top you can see this time vertical viewport was given unbounded height. So again this list view has a vertical direction and also we are using scroll view which is a single scroll view, so it's again going towards the vertical, so it cannot cover the maximum space because space is unbounded. So we will first use the scroll direction as axis dot horizontal. We want to scroll is horizontally and also we'll use shrink wrap to true. By this way, we cannot solve the error. Again, the error is same. So remember, we have to wrap this with a widget, which is a size box. And again, we have to define the height property, which is 2 in this case. Let's save it. And you can see our card has been now displayed. Error is gone. Let's again, for the example, copy this and paste it 3 times. Let's say you can paste it more times. We're going to scroll it. You can see we have child, but there is no space between. So we can add a space easily. Inside this sized box, we can wrap this container with a widget called padding. And instead of having padding from all the sides, let's say we only want padding from right as 10 and also from the top as 5. Let's save it. And this time you can see we have a space between, so we can easily copy and paste it as many times as we want. Now this time you can see we have all the courses being placed. So this is the design now. Okay, now in here you can see our code has been too cluttered. If we want to change something, let's say anything between, let's say we want to change the color of this banner, so we have to go through all this code and we have to find it and then we are going to add it. So first let's try to convert them into widgets one by one. Let's close the body. The first one is the app bar. So we right click, refactor, click on this extract flutter widget, name a dashboard app bar, click refactor. So we have a stateless class created which is a dashboard app bar and is being used over here, but you can see it's giving an error, which means that we have to use this preferred size widget. So no problem. Inside this dashboard, we are going to implement it as preferred size widget. When we are going to implement it, we have to override a function. So you can hover over it, click on this create override method. It is going to simply get the preferred size, and in size we can say size dot from height. You can give any height you want. I'm going to give it 55, add a constant, and that's it. You can see the error has been gone. Add a constant, now app bar has been dislocated. Okay, now let's cut it from here. Go to dashboard folder inside the widgets, create a new file, appbar.dart, paste it inside this class, import all the required dependencies. So AppBar has been created. Now over here, we also have to import that dependency. So AppBar is created. Now the next one is, let's leave headings over here because we are only two lines. We don't want to change it. The next thing is this search box. Okay, so I have simply converted all the files into separate widgets. You can see we have all the widgets over here inside this widgets folder. Okay, now once the design has been created, now let's try to shift all the widgets or all the required list views into ListView.builder. So the first go to categories, and you can see I have hard coded these three size boxes, and this is the list view. So we will simply convert this list view into ListView.builder. This means that it is not going to require children's anymore. So we have to paste these files one by one. So instead of duplicating everything inside the ListView.builder, first let's try to add all the values, go to models, create a new directory dashboard, and create a new file called the categories models. And inside you can see I have added title, heading, subtitle, and on press, and also all these dummy values. So this means that for the now these are the dummy values. I have created a simple list of type dashboard categories, and this is a simple constructor. So this dummy values is for now, but when we're going to fetch the data from Firebase or from any database, we will map this data using this list view towards our categories, right? So now we're going to head towards the list view.builder. Inside, let's try to first get the list. We want to get this list which is a static, so we will simply call this dashboard categories dot final list is equal to dashboard categories dot. So it's a dashboard model. So you change the name from dashboard categories to dashboard models because we have a dashboard categories over here. So you'll get the list like this. Inside this list, we have all the elements either fetched from database or created locally. It's up to you. Inside the list view builder, we have item count. So this is necessary because otherwise it is going to crash after some items. So item count is list dot length, and instead of this children, let's create an item builder. The first one is the context, then index, and then in here we are going to paste this size box. So let's close this, copy this size box from here, and also I'm going to comment it for now. Let's paste this size box, and now in here you can see we have all the elements inside the list. So what we can do is, using this list, we are going to replace all the elements. First one is a title. So how we can replace it? List of index dot title. So this list is basically the list we provided or we created over here, which is a list. Index is the index of this item builder, which is the first one in this case, and then title will be replaced. Then this is the heading, and this is a subheading. And because we want to make it clickable, so we can easily wrap this size box with a widget called gesture detector, and on tab we have list of index dot on press. So basically this on press is also been created with a void callback which is nullable, and you can see it is also provided null over here. Now let's save the code, and you can see the first one is JavaScript, then Flutter, then HTML, Kotlin, and all the values we defined over here. So this is how we map using the list view.builder. So also this is for the categories. Now we are also going to change it for top courses, and you can see the first one is Flutter crash course, then we have HTML CSS, image is also been changed, and then we have material course, and also images change, all the content has been changed. And so this is what we learned today. I know this tutorial has been very huge, but those who follow till end, thank you for watching. That's it for today's tutorial. You can see our design is pretty much clean and pretty much responsive. I hope you learned something new. If you learned something new, please like the video, and if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe because more amazing videos are coming. And from next tutorial onward, we are going to start the backend, which is the Firebase, and we are going to learn a lot of things about the Firebase as well. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You can get the code from the description below. Thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.